Hey there, sirs and ma'ams. I just thought that I would sit here and take some time out and talk about the movie that nobody seems to be able to shut up about. That's right, I'm talking about Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. It didn't really seem like a whole lot of people gave this movie a proper fighting. Damn it. Sorry, guys. Just one second. Hey, man, what's up?
Hey there, fuckstick. No one's talking about Batman v Superman anymore, especially since the critics took a massive shit on it. A well-deserved shit, I might add. But now, everyone can't shut up about Captain America Civil War like it's the second coming of Jesus or something. Which, let's be honest, it's better than the second coming of Jesus because Civil War has Spider-Man in it. Joe out.
Well, that was unpleasant. Anyways. So yeah, it seems like the big thing going right now is the follow-up to Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War. It's been over a week since it came out, so I figured that's been long enough. I can go ahead and give a somewhat spoilerific review of the movie. But just in case, spoilers will follow in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We all know the basic outline of the story, but for those who don't, trailer here and go. When an Avengers mission goes south and causes casualties, the UN decides that the Avengers need to be governed in the form of the Sokovia Accords. Feeling that the safest hands are still their own, Captain America refuses to sign and goes underground until Bucky is framed for a bombing at the UN signing that kills the King of Wakanda. Believing his friend is innocent, Captain goes on the run with Bucky and Falcon. This puts him at odds with the government, Tony Stark, Black Panther, Vision, Black Widow, and War Machine. So Cap puts his own team together to stand for what they believe in. The key to this movie's success lies with the groundwork that has been laid over the past 8 years. Unlike Batman v Superman, Marvel has earned the right to have their two biggest heroes come to blows. The tension has been building between the two heroes ever since they first met in the Avengers, but the story itself has been building and building ever since Iron Man. Even though this movie includes 11 other heroes, Civil War doesn't come off as overcrowded, not even a little bit. This is because we've already gotten to know most of the other players. It's for this very reason that the introduction of the two newest heroes to the MCU was handled so wonderfully. The Black Panther is the son of the Wakandan king who was killed at the UN bombing. Now, I don't know a whole lot about this character, but I do know that Chadwick Boseman did a fantastic job, and the writers did an even better job of introducing him. It gives you just enough information to leave you intrigued by the character and wanting that solo movie, but not so much that you find that movie to be pointless. But let's face it, the show stealer here was the one character we've been waiting to join the MCU since 2008. Fucking Spider-Man. The biggest problem they had when they announced that Civil War was going to be the next Captain America movie was the fact that we knew that Spider-Man couldn't be a part of it, even though in the comics he was an essential piece of the story. That's because the rights to Spider-Man and the immediate characters in his universe belonged to Sony, and they were far too busy making shit movies with meh to decent actors. But shortly after they announced they were doing Civil War, Marvel also announced that they had struck a deal with Sony that would allow Spider-Man to finally appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not just that, but Marvel will also be handling the creative side of the next Spider-Man reboot, Spider-Man Homecoming. So, yay. They need to change that title, though. So, ultimately, British actor Tom Holland won the role of Spider-Man. And I honestly believe that we finally have the perfect Peter Parker Spider-Man balance. Tobey Maguire was able to handle the nerdy Peter Parker side of the coin, but was never really a convincing Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, on the other hand, was a fantastically witty Spider-Man, but was always too cool to be Peter Parker. With Holland, we get a nerdy Peter Parker that avoids the cheesy territory that Sam Raimi flirted with. But we also get a Spider-Man who throws quips as much as he throws webbing. And most importantly, he's a young genius, and now we know this. That essential piece of the character's mythos has never been touched on nearly enough. Both of these actors are very welcome performers to the MCU. Both Boseman and Holland had excellent performances. In fact, everybody was brilliant in this movie. There wasn't one bad performance. That's an incredible feat for any ensemble movie. But, if I'm going to be honest, there was one performer that blew me away. It resonated with me, and in my opinion, overshadowed everybody else. It's Robert Downey Jr. Now, calm down. I realize it sounds contradictory to say that Spider-Man was a show stealer, but RDJ overshadowed him. That's just how I feel. He did steal the show because he had kind of all the cool moments, but the actual performance that Downey gave was breathtaking. Not only is this his best go as Tony Stark, it's easily one of his best performances ever. He still plays it with that signature humor, but there is a massive dose of drama injected into it. Every line delivery and every aggravated look he gives, you truly feel all the anger, the passion, the guilt that Tony Stark feels. And to be honest, I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention the performance of Scarlett Johansson and Sebastian Stan. Now, Scarlett Johansson's always been very good as Black Widow. I've always enjoyed it. But this was the first time when I left the theater, I kind of am hoping that they do a solo outing for her. I think by the end of this movie, she deserves it. And I think that the fact that she's on the run by the end of the movie would make an excellent solo film. Now, while she's always been great, Sebastian Stan in the last movie was really good, but he didn't really get a chance to flex his acting muscles like he did in this. We get to know so much more about Bucky. We get to see how sweet and frustrated and angry he is, and just how devastated he feels that he can't remember everything, that he's not in control of his faculties. It's heartbreaking almost, and Sebastian Stan pulls it off magnificently. We got to see so much more about the character, and it really feels now that they're heading towards him ultimately picking up the mantle of Captain America down the line. With as much drama as there is in this movie, there is just as much action. It is filled to the brim with action. It was a perfect balance. It never once felt repetitive or useless. It was natural. It was a part of the story. You needed that. Every action beat gave us something new to add to the story. It wasn't just filler. Like another superhero fight movie that came out earlier this year. That one. Even though the majority of the fight scenes required a lot of CGI, it never once feels like a CGI mess of exploding nonsense. That's including when Ant-Man turns into Giant Man and then Spider-Man swings around him to wrap his legs up to take down Giant Man. That's a lot of CG that just happened in that sentence. And it looked real. Like, I believed it was happening. I mean, not really, because, I'm not an idiot, but, never mind. Just, let's all hope that Zack Snyder got to see Civil War when it came out. One problem that Marvel seems to have is that they haven't had a villain that can stand up on the same level that Loki created. Aside from Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin and, to a lesser degree, Kilgrave from the Jessica Jones series, none of their villains have ever really felt like a threat. Now, Frank Grillo's Crossbones was grossly misused and wasted. Zemo, on the other hand, played by Daniel Bruhl, has fantastic potential. Zemo, as it turns out, is the one pulling the strings the entire time. Playing the unknown puppet master, he manipulates everybody to tear the Avengers apart from within. Even though it sort of falls into the Joker syndrome, where he would have to know precisely where everybody is and exactly how they're going to react, you never really question it. Bruhl does a lovely job of making Zemo sinister, scary, and, well, real. The only thing that I feel they messed up on was his motive. During the events of the climax of Age of Ultron, Zemo lost his entire family and has spent the time since studying the Avengers, trying to work a way to tear them apart. Not that it isn't a solid backstory, because it is. I don't know. I guess I'm just tired of villains with somewhat sympathetic reasons behind their actions. Like, Obadiah thought Tony Stark was going to ruin the company and wanted to keep making money. Blonsky, he craved power. Ivan Vanko, he thought Howard Stark had wronged his father, so he was going to right it. Loki, he thought he was the rightful king of Asgard. Red Skull wanted world domination. Loki still thought he was the rightful king of Asgard. Etc., etc. I don't know. I guess I'm just craving a villain who wants to cause chaos for the sake of chaos, or kills because they want to kill, not necessarily have a reason for their madness. I guess, again, similar to what the Joker was in Dark Knight, because we really haven't had one since him. And yes, I do know that they were two different properties, DC and Marvel. I'm just saying, in comic books in general, they always feel that there has to be a reason for the villain to exist. I don't think that's absolutely necessary. Heath Ledger's Joker proved it. But that's really just a personal opinion. Because, to be quite frank, his involvement in the story helped make this adaptation maintain originality. Adapting a story like this was a massive undertaking. The comic book story arc not only included the Avengers, but it also included the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, two properties owned by 20th Century Fox. To adapt this was kind of a problem. A lot of us were really worried about how they were going to adapt the storyline without all of their characters. But simply put, Marvel just pulled it off again. There were a lot of similarities between the book and the movie, but it still felt like an absolutely original story. And that's exactly how an adaptation should feel. Now, I do disagree that this movie is the best Marvel movie that has been released. I will agree that it is the best Avengers movie since the first Avengers. And I won't argue the fact that it's definitely in the top 3. For me, at least. If there's anything that this movie proves, it's that Avengers Infinity War Parts 1 and 2 are in great hands with the Russo brothers. And, honestly, Marvel might just be infallible. Oh, fuck you. I like that movie. Yeah, I like that one too. Kind of boring, but still not bad. Don't get me fucking started.